The Handmaid's Tale star Max Minghella in talks to join DCU's upcoming horror film produced by James Gunn. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Before the Max Minghella news broke out, Tom Rhys-Harry's role as Matt Hagen, the main character of Gunn's upcoming DCU feature, was confirmed earlier this year in June. Minghella and Harries are poised to star as adversaries in Clayface. The fresh-faced Welsh actor was chosen after the studio reportedly auditioned the likes of Leo Woodall, One Day, The White Lotus, George Mackay, 1917, Tom Blythe, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and Jack O'Connell, Sinners, via The Hollywood Reporter. While James Gunn recently confirmed Clayface lead actor, reports suggest the DCU feature might be eyeing Max Minghella to star alongside Tom Rhys-Harries. The Handmaid's Tale star is poised to expand his caliber by venturing into the DC universe for the first time with a compelling supporting role, via Deadline. The deal has not been closed yet. However, the film is set to release on September 11, 2026, which means production needs to start soon, hinting at a possible finalization in the upcoming weeks. If cast, Minghella will be seen playing the role of John, a Gotham City police detective. We can expect a role confirmation once Minghella's casting becomes official. Now, Minghella, whose captivating performance as an actor has landed him Emmy nominations and critical acclaim, is in final discussions to be cast as Dr. Bates' fiancé. His role will bring personal stakes to an otherwise terrifying narrative. Reports strongly suggest the expected confirmation of these roles. Together, these talented actors are all set to anchor the DCU's venture into a new genre. Stay tuned for more details as the film nears production. Exclusive reports from Deadline suggest the Mickey 17 and Sorry, Baby actress Naomi Ackie is the top choice for the leading lady in Clayface. She was in the early deal-making process around the last week of July. If the reports are any indication, we will be seeing her starring alongside Harries in the role of Dr. Caitlin Bates, a biotech CEO. The first draft of the screenplay was penned by Mike Flanagan, the creative mind behind The Haunting of Hill House, Hush, The Fall of the House of Usher, and many more. This confirms the fact that Clayface is poised to be darker and spookier than any previous DCU entry. James Gunn is headlining the Clayface project as a producer alongside Peter Safran. He has teased that the film is a complete shift from DC's usual genre. Calling it a complete horror film, Gunn has confirmed that the movie will be a stark deviation from classics like Superman. Director James Watkins will be leading the charge by guiding the comic narrative's descent into visceral horror. While being termed a mid-budget film, Clayface is already well on its way to making waves in the industry. Who are you most excited to see in the upcoming film about the Batman antagonist? In his interview with Screen Rant, Gunn emphasized the fact that DC wants to step away from generalization, stating, "There's not a company style. The artists, the directors, and the writers, each one will bring their own sense to it. That's what we want to bring to the films because we don't want people to get bored. We want to invigorate people." While Clayface does exist in the same universe as Batman, as the story about one of Gotham City's biggest criminals, it will follow a much different path than its contemporaries. James Gunn has grand plans for the DCU, and it all begins with Peacemaker S02 that will host a lot of cameos to tie in with the larger universe. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. James Gunn's earlier claims of DCU tie-ins have now found solid footing with Peacemaker Season 2. The John Cena series will bring in all the major players from Season 1 and David Corenswet's Superman to establish the scope of the larger DC universe moving forward. James Gunn and John Cena premiered Peacemaker Season 2 at the AMC Lincoln Square Theater in NYC on August 13, 2025, 3.5 years after Season 1. But with the festivities came certain announcements that might upset the superhero franchise's fans. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the DC Studios chief claimed, "Superman leads, directly, into this show, and then we have the setting up of all of the rest of the DCU in this season of Peacemaker. It's incredibly important. Lots of guest stars coming up, lots of characters that are going to show up that we've already met in Superman. I don't think there's anything that I've ever done that I love more than this season of Peacemaker, so I'm so excited for people to see it." While all of it may sound incredibly fun at first glance, the star-studded ensemble cast also poses a major problem for the nascent realm of DCU. Previously, Gunn had touted how meaningless cameo P*RN in superhero films is ruining the genre as a whole. Threads. Most recently, Deadpool and Wolverine headlined a cast of who's who from Marvel's legacy past, fitting perfectly into Gunn's cameo P***RN category. If the DC Studios chief fails to do it right in his rendition of the CBM universe, we're afraid Gunn will fall into the trappings of his own making due to the cameo affair of Peacemaker Season 2. Knowing James Gunn, every character in his story will have a role to play, and an important one at that. This means that John Cena's eccentric antihero is bound to cross paths with the Justice Gang, thus embedding Peacemaker solidly within the mainstream DCU, after his fleeting cameo in Superman. This also ties in with the arc of Peacemaker jumping across timelines, as was made evident by the trailer of Season 2. John Cena's role will now be divided across 2 parallel universes, thus helping to sever ties with the controversial Snyderverse timeline that connected him to DCU via the Suicide Squad. However, in doing so, Gunn has done exactly what he was trying to avoid. The filmmaker's comments on Threads revealed how he felt about unnecessary cameos and guest star appearances in recent CBM projects, claiming, "Cameo P***RN has been one of the worst elements of recent superhero films. If a character is in film, they have to have a reason to be there story-wise. I don't mind actual cameos, if it's a glimpse or a moment, an Easter egg. What bothers me is when they mangle an elegant story by shoehorning characters in. They aren't there because the story calls for it, but for some other reason." Now, however, James Gunn has assembled an entire roster of guest stars from Peacemaker Season 1 and Superman for the sake of his incredibly important mission of setting up all of the rest of the DCU, THR. These cameos will have to serve a purpose, in turn, rather than merely pander to fan demands or help climb the ratings chart. Season 2 will heavily lean into Peacemaker's redemption arc, especially after his morally questionable turn in the Suicide Squad. Along with his new friends from the Justice Gang and his found family with the 11th Street Kids, Peacemaker might be able to find a renewed sense of self and confidence to exist in the world again, thus fulfilling his wish of not wanting to be a joke anymore. Jennifer Holland, Danielle Brooks, Freddie Stroma, Nhat Lee, Steve Agee, Frank Grillo, Robert Patrick, and Michael Rooker are all set to appear. Are you excited for Peacemaker Season 2? Share your favorite fan theories about the upcoming season in the comments below. Knowing James Gunn, every character in his story will have a role to play, and an important one at that. This means that John Cena's eccentric antihero is bound to cross paths with the Justice Gang, thus embedding Peacemaker solidly within the mainstream DCU, after his fleeting cameo in Superman. This also ties in with the arc of Peacemaker jumping across timelines, as was made evident by the trailer of Season 2. John Cena's role will now be divided across 2 parallel universes, thus helping to sever ties with the controversial Snyderverse timeline that connected him to DCU via the Suicide Squad. Season 2 will heavily lean into Peacemaker's redemption arc, especially after his